How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Let me be one of the first people on YouTube to show Bitcoin at $100,000. It just happened and it is beautiful. It is sexy. It is time to crack a beer. It is time to hold a loved one. We are at six-figure Bitcoin. This is the beginning. Okay? This is the beginning. Shout out to Digital Asset News. I can't wait to see him do the jump into the green screen. He's been talking about it for years, but Bitcoin just hit 99,000 and shot up, right? Shot up to 100,000. To be clear, someone made a big buy. Also, let's look at crypto liquidations. There are some shorts that could get squeezed here very soon as well. So we had 323 million worth of longs liquidated, 221 million of shorts. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful day. Get ready for some more big moves. I would not be surprised if that happens. If you want to trade, to be clear, you can check out Blofin, you can check out CoinW, you can check out BTCC, links underneath the video with deposit bonuses and all that kind of stuff. To be clear, make sure that you understand what leverage trading is. Make sure you understand the risks of using exchanges and of using leverage. But as you can see, just shooting up recently. Altcoins also looking solid. Actually, to be clear, this is actually the first time that I'm going to be taking profits on a major position. I just told my Patreon that I'm actually going to be trimming my ETH position, about 20%. Keep in mind, this is only a couple percent of my portfolio. I'm heavily geared towards Bitcoin, but when you see milestones like this happen, it might make sense to take a little bit of profit off the table. And as I've said, I am going to be selling alts, and I fully intend on Ethereum going up further. I hope it does, right? I hope that it goes up further, but it's time to take a little bit off the table in my mind on some altcoins. Now, like I said, I think we're going to see a massive run in altcoins, but I've been in since $800 ETH, $16,000 Bitcoin, dollar cost average. So I just wanted to give that disclaimer up front. And basically, I'm going to be taking profits on some positions. Again, super bullish. We'll get into some of the bullish news here in a second, but I also have some long positions open, and yeah, they are looking beautiful. Beautiful. Liquidations, baby. Liquidations. As you can see, hundreds of percents on a lot of different positions. So again, if you want to check that out, check it out underneath the video. Let's look at this. BlackRock just bought another almost 6,000 Bitcoin today. Look at this reignition of buying. And this is not when the elections happen. This is like middle to end of October. They started by heavier and heavier and heavier, and they just hit 500,000 Bitcoin as well. Let's actually pull this up. IBIT is now over 50 billion in AUM. It took 228 days to reach this milestone. The next fastest ETF to reach 50 billion was IEFA in 1,329 days. So over 5 times faster than any ETF ever launched. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous, right? We're watching history here. Fed Chair Jerome Powell today talked about Bitcoin, how it's a competitor to gold. I mean, we're talking about one of the most powerful people in the US, in the economic world, talking about how Bitcoin is competing with gold, an $18 trillion asset. That is awesome. Putin says no one can stop Bitcoin. I know I talked about a little bit of this earlier today, but still, think about where we are. We have global rulers, dictators, people that run their countries with an iron fist saying that they can't stop Bitcoin. We have Jerome Powell saying that this is competing with gold. We have Bitcoin spiking up to $102,000. We have large public companies like Mara with billions of dollars of convertible notes at 0%. They did 2 of these in the last couple of weeks. Hut 8 raising money. We have Fidelity actually buying some Ethereum too. I don't remember where this is exactly, but Fidelity actually bought a decent amount of Ethereum today, and BlackRock has recently as well. So we're starting to see some pretty cool things happening. Now, at the same time, there are very wealthy, very important people, very successful people like Jason from the All In podcast that says, Bitcoin yield, BTC yield. Any CPAs want to chime in here on this clever new language and accounting at MSTR? Which accounting firm does their books and audits? Okay, so kind of poking at this Bitcoin yield idea. And yeah, he's actually been posting about MSTR a lot. The MSTR presentation is next level. Have fun being poor by Saylor. Don't see MSFT taking the bait, but certainly could see a MAG 7.1 to 5 billion into Bitcoin. Again, there's a 50-50 chance that Saylor gets a big fish, MAG 7, or more likely a sovereign to take the bait and buy $10 billion in Bitcoin over a 10-day period. Candidly, I've never seen this level of pumping by a public CEO. Not only is he evangelizing his stock, he's publicly lobbying other public companies to participate in the same strategy and asset. Now that is a meta pump. So this one seems a little bit more middle of the road, but he has been kind of grilling Saylor recently in terms of what they're doing to their stock and whether he thinks something could go horribly wrong. He said, what could go wrong? A company that has endless money, right? So let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, Matthew Schultz saying 0.1 Bitcoin, or 0.1 million. That's what you have to remember, right? Like, we are in unprecedented times. Bitcoin is hitting 102,000, but Dennis Porter says again, another state has jumped on board. Like, there are massive entities looking at buying. There are massive entities that are buying. So the fact is, this is warranted, right? You kind of had that feeling today as the market was going that, like, hey, Bitcoin's pushing up and there hasn't really been much news. Makes you wonder, who is buying out there? Now, the cool thing is there has to be a pretty significant buy to make Bitcoin go up these $3,000 that it has in the last hour or so. Now, the thing is, though, we don't really know if this is just the order books running dry, the sellers running dry. This may be the supply crunch or the start of the supply crunch that we've been waiting for. You know, there are certain institutions that say there's a 100x multiplier during the bull market. If you have a big buyer and they want to buy $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, it can force up the price of Bitcoin by $100 billion, depending on, you know, how many sellers there are. So maybe we're at that point where there's just not much Bitcoin to go around. Of course, there will be profit taking, but we just passed this key psychological level that so many people were selling at. We were bouncing up against it. People were taking profit several times at 99,000, 99,800, and we just busted through. So congrats to everyone that's invested. Everyone that's ever bought Bitcoin is now in the profit. And again, if you've traded crypto, and you're long Bitcoin, you've probably done fairly well. If you do want to try out trading, make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you understand the risks of using centralized exchanges or using leverage in general. Check out the links underneath the video to BTCC, to Blofin, and to CoinW. I like to spread out the cash on multiple exchanges, just in case there's some kind of liquidity issue or in case there's some kind of volatility. Be ready for the next Coinbase crash. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll see you all in the next one.